Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to another Beers of War podcast. I am one of your gracious hosts, Beer Ninja, and along with me we have
Sir
Matilda
Bigness.
82. Matilda 82.
All right, and today we are just going to talk about whatever the hell we feel like it. So sit back, relax, crack open a beer, have a good time, and enjoy the show.
Round one, fight!
It's just hard to top the original. Like, very few movies have been able to do that. Like, the only ones that always come to mind, the first one that always comes to mind is Terminator 2. I love Terminator 1. I fell madly in love with Terminator 2. And I was like, you can't just recreate that or capture lightning in a bottle all over again with some of these sequels and everything. So.
No. And, that kind of leads back to the question that we asked when we were just kind of chatting is why, are we seeing more video games turned into movies as opposed to the reverse? It used to be you'd have a movie, you come out with like some 8-bit cheap knockoff video game, and now it's the reverse. Now the game comes out and you see the movie come from it. And I think a lot of it is that's where your original ideas are coming from. Hollywood's not cranking out any original ideas.
Not at all. Far from it.
I mean, it's like rom-coms, comic book movies, and like some movie about a German chick that wants to be a music conductor. Or, some guy that when he's 65 discovers that he likes wearing toenail polish and he wins Best Actor.
They're running out of ideas. I just heard somebody talk about the other day. It's like nobody is coming out with new material. It's all either rehashed or already something that's already existing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There are no more frontiers. I mean, like you could make sci-fi movies, but I think when you get a video game movie, one of the things you get is you get that built-in recognition.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like, okay, I already know what I'm going to see. I already know part of what I'm going to see. So let me tune into this or let me go see this movie and see what see what they're talking about. See if the performances are good. Like I would love to see a Mass Effect series. I think it'd be the closest thing to another Star Trek. I mean, just the sheer mass of the story. This is just a huge, huge story with giant, veiny storylines. It just it makes sense because you don't get anything like that from Hollywood, especially not greenlighting 3 or 4 movies.
No, not at all. Video game now, like when coming into movies and stuff, I think that's going to be like the new Marvel thing. They're going to get a lot of people buying this shit up, and they're going to go start making movies on it. And some are going to do well, some are going to bomb, obviously. And it's not uncommon though for Hollywood to get involved in something like that. I mean, there have been other, video game movies that were out. You got, like your Street Fighter, you got your Mortal Kombat, and you got Mario Brothers, just stuff like a lot of them were flops. So I guess Hollywood just didn't want to touch that anymore,
Yeah.
But now that you get the people that back up their games, that are behind these games and everything like that, then you got yourself a damn good story going on and stuff. So I want to see more of that. But there are some that I don't want, Hollywood to touch whatsoever. And I'm fine with HBO Max, just like we were talking about the other day, Brennan, with The Last of Us and everything. Those guys, they're doing it right. And they got the guy, Neil Druckmann, behind it too. So that's even better for me. But yeah.
Are they going to involve with the Gears of War series or the movie or whatever it is they're going to do? Are they getting Cliffy B involved in any way?
I have no idea, because here's the thing. When Gears first came out, they were already talking about getting into it. Then it went into movie development hell or something they call it. I can't remember what the terminology was. And it got bounced. So it dropped. Didn't hear about it. And then, Gears 4 came out with the new, characters and stuff like that. And Rod Ferguson was backing it up. And he was saying that there was going to be a movie and all that kind of stuff. And then he up and left the Coalition to go work on, I forget what it was. It was either Diablo or a BioShock series or something like that. And So now all of a sudden, Gears 5 has been out for a couple of years now and everything, and they're talking about, I think Netflix is taking the reins on this one, and it's going to be a series, I think, or something to that effect, and they're also creating an animated movie for it too.
I think that I'm sitting here because you wonder if Dave Bautista is too old to play Drax. Is he too old to play Marcus Phoenix now?
I think at that point, it's just a matter of opinion. Honestly, I wouldn't mind kind of like just having a whole new cast, new people introduced to, make new stars or something.
Well, that's kind of what Game of Thrones does in a way when they come out with a series. I mean, outside of a handful of actors and actresses, you've got a lot of people that have prominent roles that you've never even heard before.
Right.
So I think giving more people opportunity to try new people out, help people get found. But at the same time, if you already have a predetermined actor or actress for a role that you think would fit, I mean, who else would be able to do? We've been watching The Last of Us and reviewing that. Who do you think would be able to play Joel better than Pedro Pascal?
I don't know. And him and Bella Ramsey, they were actually both in Game of Thrones together.
Right. Yeah,
so,
she said that.
Cool.
I saw an article the other day says she cannot watch the scene that he is in Game of Thrones because she has created an unhealthy attraction to Pedro Pascal.
Whatever that guy touches is gold in my book. There was an article.
He's never had a show under 90% on Rotten Tomato.
Yeah, there was an article about that. Like I said, everything that guy touches is gold. And if I swear to God, if he's at Comic-Con, I want to get a photo of that dude.
If you guys have Netflix, watch the first 2 seasons of Narcos if you haven't seen it, because he's in that, and then the guy that plays Namor in Black Panther or the Wakanda Forever, he's in Narcos Mexico, and people were raving about his performance in Wakanda Forever. That man ate up Narcos Mexico. He was phenomenal.
I want to watch that Narcos too. There's just so many things.
It's good series, very good series. Boyd Holbrook, who was in one of the Deadpool movies, is in that show too.
Well, just kind of piggybacking off of what Brandon was saying earlier, some actors that you already have in mind for Deadpool was obviously one of them. Ryan Reynolds, hands down, was born for that role right there. But also, as far as the Gears go, I don't mind if they wanted to bring new people in and everything like that. I think it'd be a really good fresh take because, in this market today, you see a lot of the same actors, nothing against them or anything, but I think I can do without watching another Rock movie right now.
I could too.
I'm just saying. Nothing against them or anything like that. And they're already remaking a lot of stuff and everything with him in it. And I'm like, let me get the Rock's in it. Yeah, there he is. Yep, that's a Rock.
They really... Oh, go ahead, Brent. Go ahead.
He's the big name draw right now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
it's just because right now he's typecast to that type of role, and because that's what they're throwing out right now, movie wise. Unfortunately, he's the best one to fill in for
it. And I think that's another reason why maybe you can get away with doing a video game movie is because you have that built-in story recognition. You can go with maybe not an A-list actor in the roles because, people are already attracted to it. With the popularity of Yellowstone, you really think Red Dead Redemption would not be a bomb-ass series?
AAA.
You could take both of the series, 1 and 2, and smash them together. I think Shane should play John Marston because he sounds just like him.
Probably could pull it off.
Yeah.
Got bit by a cougar, man.
It was Go
ahead, Tim.
Oh, go ahead. No, you go ahead, Bren. You're up.
Well, we were mentioning about Rotten Tomato. The big thing that came out this weekend was the new Ant-Man movie. Have you guys seen it yet?
No. And it's already getting bombed for some reason before the movie came out. And I've already hearing people saying that it was a great movie.
Yep.
That's the one thing you got to be careful about is those who's actually bombing it. Is it actual critics? Is it actual? I would buy it more if it would say like IGN come out with a negative review on it versus the New York Times. They're not going to give a Marvel movie rave reviews.
Yeah, because they want to see an art house flick.
Yeah, and that's why none of them are ever up for running for Best Picture or anything like that.
Now that you mention it, like you were talking about, like the actor that's typecasting into everything now, in everything now. Jonathan Majors is in everything now.
I said that the other day because let's see, he was in Lovecraft Country.
Yes.
I just watched a couple weeks ago. I watched Devotion with me and my son. Really great movie, especially if you're a history buff. Now he's in Ant-Man. He's going to be in the new Creed movie.
Mm-hmm.
What else has he been in? Big.
I don't know. He's one of those. It's like he's going to be in everything like that. It's that cyclical thing, and it's Kevin Hart kind of went through the same thing. Like there was a time when Kevin Hart did like 3 movies out at once.
Well, Gerard Butler. Every time you turn around, he's got a trailer up for a new movie. He's turning into Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Let's see. White
Liam
Boy
Neeson.
Rick, The Last Black Man in San Francisco, When We Rise, Ant-Man, Devotion, Harder They Fall. He was even in Loki.
Yeah.
Loki?
Yeah, He Who Remains. Jonathan Majors.
Captive State. Yeah, he was in quite a bit. He's been quite a bit of stuff.
Wasn't he in that ambulance movie or something like that with Jake Gyllenhaal?
No, I don't think so. Because I think that was called Ambulance.
That looked like a good movie too.
It did.
It's out on one of the streaming services. I seen it the other day. I want to say maybe Paramount Plus.
We're gonna have to have a movie night during Beers Week or movie day.
That also reminds me. I read an article earlier today that not to bring Jake Gyllenhaal up. I was thinking immediately about Spider-Man. So it's a go for Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland. So that's going to be.
You go for Mysterio?
I don't know if he's going to be in it. Anytime I think of Jake Gyllenhaal as of recent, I think of him in Spider-Man now. I also heard that he was also going to be doing the role in Roadhouse. Patrick Swayze. Which honestly, I don't want to see another Roadhouse. Patrick Swayze, may he rest in peace and everything. It was perfect the way it was. It was a product of his time.
He just does not fit. He just, from what he's done in the past, he does not seem like a type of guy to do a Patrick Swayze-esque role.
Not at all.
You can't. That's like, you talk to any like people in our generation, especially people who watch movies and stuff, because granted, I'm a few years younger than all you guys, and a lot of the people my age haven't seen. But you could say, have you ever seen what's Roadhouse? But you get people like your guys' age, they're like, that's the go-to guy movie. So
yeah, absolutely.
It really is.
I hear they're going to bring that back. Then you guys were talking earlier about, maybe before we got on or whatever, about James Gunn and DC. From what I'm reading, the whole Flash thing is how they're resetting the whole DC universe now.
That's what I'm reading too, man.
Which I think I like that, going that route better than it just completely blowing it up and starting over. Now, at least
and who better to bring it in?
You've got something to use it as a transition piece.
Yeah. You got Michael Keaton. Who better to bring it in, man? Like when I saw, the big, game trailers and everything like that, like heart skipped a beat. And I saw Keaton donning the cowl again. I am so ready for this movie. I will go and watch that movie just because of him instead of Ezra Miller.
I had no interest in any DC movies until this. I will go watch The Flash, and I have not seen I haven't seen a DC movie since Aquaman.
Mm-hmm. And I know I'll probably get a lot of flack for this, and I'd love to hear what you guys say in the comments if you do get a chance around this question. Not even a question, it's just more of a statement. It's like, I'm kind of excited to see what James Gunn is going to do with the DC universe. I want to see where the direction goes and stuff like that. I mean, my hats are off to the original, cast like, you got Ben Affleck as Batman, Henry Cavill as Superman, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I mean, I get it. We're probably not going to see them anymore at that point. Maybe we'll get some new actors, but I want to see the direction where they're going with this and see if they'll be able to rival Marvel in that series. Because I've always said DC dominates in the animated movies. They suck in the movie theaters, whereas it's a swap with Marvel, So I'm looking forward to seeing what it is. There was even like reports where people wanted to see Jason Momoa play as Lobo. And I'm like, that is what he would be perfect for. He would be built for that role right there, in my opinion. I would love to see more of Jason Momoa. And I love his Aquaman movies too. And they're going to have that come out too. So, but yeah, Keaton back. I'm hooked. I'm stoked. I'm ready.
I just thought for a second that Jonathan Majors he wasn't Black Manta. That was Yahya Abdul-Mateen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't even know if we'll even see him in the new Aquaman movie. But yeah.
It ended kind of on that cliffhanger. So you don't know. They'll probably recast that whole thing.
Yeah. I'm just curious who they're going to get to play. Who's going to be the new Batman for James Gunn's movies? I know that Robert Pattinson is still. How many movies he tied up for his version of Batman? 2 more?
2 or 3, one of the 2. Yeah.
And I actually enjoyed the Batman. I like the darker turn on some of these movies instead of these movies all being lighthearted and kind of comical. I like the more of the serious aspect, the darker side of some of these heroes and seeing some of this stuff.
Yeah, and that's where DC kind of dominates in that field, the dark side, the gritty side of it and everything. So I think they'll continue on with that. And as far as Sparkles goes, Robert Pattinson, by the way, he has my respect as Batman. Actually, I think he did a really good job in it. And it was more of a kind of like a lifelike version if there was a Batman. You know what I mean? Like the Batmans we see and everything like that, doing these very acrobatic things. And I mean, not to say that a human condition couldn't do something like that or anything, but this one just kind of like it felt different. And we're going to see Colin Farrell reprise his role as Penguin in his own series spinoff on HBO. So that's going to be awesome too to see. Then, you look at him in that makeup and everything, you wouldn't even know it was the dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious. I honestly think who they get the actors and actresses that play some of these characters could make or break some of these movies.
Yeah, exactly.
If you put the wrong person in to the role, I think it could kill it.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like how, kind of switching gears here a little bit. You know how like when a big movie will come out and it's making all this money and then they want to make a video game of it and stuff like that? That's a hit or miss subject for me as well, when it comes to stuff like that. Like the Avengers game got bombed very badly, whereas there was other games that kind of stood out and shined. And I've said this before in one of the previous podcasts, the Guardians of the Galaxy video game, it was actually way better than the movies, in my opinion. I love the movies, don't get me wrong, but the game was great. So I'm hoping that. Yeah, the point I'm trying to get at is I just hope they won't try to milk on that as well. Hey, we got a hit superhero TV show out or a video game show, or not video game, but a TV show, a comic book show or something like that. And we're going to turn it into a video game and people are going to buy it. Yum, yum, yum. It probably won't even make high on the Metacritics. You know what I mean? I just don't want to see that.
Let's not forget that a movie video game basically killed the industry in 1984.
Yeah. I mean, it did. And I just don't want to see a recreation of that. I just want the companies to like take their time when it comes to developing the stories and fleshing them out and even adding and expanding more to it and everything. So that's what I want to see. And if they can do that, just like I know we keep talking about it. We bring up The Last of Us. They bring out more content than what the game had to offer, or they kind of changed it up a bit, but it still works and everything.
Yeah.
That's because people took the time to actually go through this and say, well, how is the new fans versus the old fans? How are they going to react? Where do we find that balance and everything? That's what needs to go into the product is time. not deadlines and rushing it and just trying to get a cash cow out of it because it's going to bomb. You know?
Yeah, forcing it out. I mean, we were talking. Kevin mentioned earlier about 8-bit video games. I mean, I can still remember one was RoboCop. When the first Peter Weller RoboCop came out, and they came out with the NES game RoboCop.
Oh yeah,
I got it.
the Goonies.
It's gonna be a
Yeah, the
Comic-Con
Goonies
too.
8-bit game.
I got Goonies too. Yep. I had to buy Goonies.
I think taking because that's the one thing that always turns me off is getting a movie and then a game, and it's just like the game is nowhere along what the movie went. Now,
Not even close.
Several years ago, when Star Wars Episode 3, the last one, the Sith movie,
Revenge of the Sith. Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith. Now, the game came out before the movie dropped, so I played the game just so I could know what was going to happen in the movie. It was pretty close.
I was going to say, I never played the game. I own it, but I never played it. But was it? It was pretty close.
Yeah. Because there were some cutscenes and stuff in there that pretty much tied it back into the movie and stuff. So that's part of the reason why I played it.
And when we're talking about games and movies and the tie-in together, the PlayStation, I don't know if it's PlayStation, Xbox, I don't think was out at the time. The Lord of the Rings games, you remember those?
Xbox
How they would intersperse the movie with the game, and it was seamless. That was an example of an early game to movie, movie to game, whichever way you go, that was done really, really well.
Now, Peter Jackson, I think if you had anybody else other than Peter Jackson directing it, I think Lord of the Rings would have went totally different than what it was.
Oh, yeah.
You had somebody who truly respected the IP and wanted to bring the IP. I mean, my dad is a huge Lord of the Rings fan. I mean, he could probably tell you he's probably read all the books from The Hobbit all the way up numerous times. It's one of his favorite book series of all times. And he told me when the first Lord of the Rings came out, Fellowship of the Ring, that he said it was probably out of all the movies ever seen is the most that's ever been with the book from start to finish. He says they didn't go off and do some weird tangents that, oh, let's go see what this person's doing at this time. If it wasn't in the book, it wasn't in the movie.
And given the time that they needed to make those movies, like they weren't able to actually put everything that was, I believe, in the first bit. But it worked. It worked.
The epilogue to that movie was long. Like the Return of the King, like what they call in story writing the denouement, where there's a story kind of comes to an end to the finish. It was really long, but in the books, it was really, really long, like long stretch.
It was long, but it was also very detailed in how they described it. I didn't get to. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't read all of them. I own all of them on books, but when I started reading them, there was one character that I never seen in the movies, and I think his name was like Tom Bombadil or something like that.
Yeah,
you didn't see him in the movies or anything. But then again, looking back in hindsight, I may not really even need him. He was just somebody they met along the way of the journey and everything. So some of these things you just got to cut out. So I'm glad that
we need Stacy in here because she's the resident Lord of the Rings guru.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think I read an article several years ago. Author Dan Brown, he wrote the book, The Da Vinci Code, and he was tasked with writing the script for the movie transition with Tom Hanks. Or the movie adaptation. And I think he said by the time he got done with because this is the first time he's ever wrote a screenplay from off of his materials. And he said by the time he got done writing the first chapter of the book, he had over 4 hours of movie time built into that to play that out the way it should. So he's like, that was the hardest thing for him to do, was try to take his material and figure out what parts to cut out, what to leave in to still be able to do a movie in 2.5 hours. So.
And that's where the platforms like Netflix and all them come out, because they can actually prolong those series to make things like that happen. Just like we talked about before in the past, Assassin's Creed never should have been a movie. Never.
Nope.
You could probably have done it in a movie if you'd done it right. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Maybe with certain aspects of the story and stuff like that, but if you're going to talk about one character and how he develops, like Ezio Auditore da Firenze, right? That guy had basically 3 games, and it expands over years as his life as an assassin and stuff. And you could make a lot of seasons out of something like that, but you couldn't really pull that off in a movie. It'd be too quick. Even if it was like 2.5 to 3 hours, it'd still be too quick to make.
That would be a great episodic series. If you went back to, you could go back from, and the thing is, you could intersperse it and jump around the timeline and keep it really interesting. You could start with Bayek and the founding, and then go to Connor and Revolutionary War America, and then, go back to Altair, and then Ezio. You could really jump around the different series and kind of see how this timeline goes from one era to from Egypt to America, to even the stories that were in the Chronicles, like India and China and Russia. Bring those all in together. You could there is a lot of good, solid content there that maybe people who don't play games don't get exposed to.
Yeah.
Well, the problem you probably would run into, unfortunately, is kind of like the Lord of the Rings series that came out on Amazon. Is certain characters or people maybe not under all the license, because there's certain characters like Gandalf, they can't use him in the new Lord of the Rings series, so he won't be in there. And he's honestly one of the characters that was around at that time. So hopefully none of those, if you do like something like that with Assassin's Creed, that some of those characters ain't locked out due to licensing.
Well, I think it's all belongs to Ubisoft, so I think they would be able to put all that together. I think that'd be a great idea. And that being said, I'm gonna go off on a little bit of a rant here since we're kind of freestyling here. I kind of feel sorry for people who don't play video games on some level, because if you're a sci-fi fan and you don't know who Commander Shepard is or Master Chief, or you don't know who about Dom and Marcus Phoenix, you're missing out on fantastic content. You're missing out on great stories. You're missing out on the best stories that are being told in our generation. And it's kind of sad because they dismiss gaming and dismiss video games as some sort of toy or some sort of childish endeavor. It's no different than a movie. In fact, it's better than a movie because you actually play a role in what happens.
You literally can be in the movie. Yeah. You
can be in the movie. You can literally put yourself and your opinions, which goes back to the second podcast we did. You can put yourself, your morals, your ideals into that movie. Like somebody who studies Greek mythology but doesn't know, never played God of War. I think they would really get something out of that. And just don't dismiss this as some sort of trivial endeavor. It really is immersing yourself into a series of great stories. And someone who's well-read, and you can go in their room and they've got the library of books. Tim, you look at the stuff behind you, there's a library of fantastic stories behind you that people dismiss as some sort of childish game or childish toy,
like a toy. Yeah.
Yeah, they view it as a toy.
Yeah.
You think like where else? You think about what they've done with gaming now, how you have the adaptive controllers and maybe kids who are disabled or have some sort of physical ailment. Where else can that kid be a hero? Where else can that kid really feel like he's accomplished something? Other than, the real world where that may dismiss him because he has whatever ailment he has, and I feel bad if I'm not using the right words with this, but I'm actually really passionate about this. Where else can that kid feel like a real hero in beating a game or playing Smash Brothers he can really feel like he's part of something where he's maybe not dismissed. And
like
that's
part of the
something I
crew.
really love about gaming and what gaming can bring to people's lives.
Absolutely. Just like being a part of a crew, being helped out and everything. Like I just watched a kid, who that you described with certain ailments and everything, where they had to have a special controller or something like that. And he was dominating in Call of Duty. You know?
Yeah.
It was
Well, you've seen
amazing.
it. You've seen Xbox come out with a couple of those commercials where the kids are
Oh yeah.
you got and they have the whole spread and all the buttons are like this big around and he can move stuff around and that gives it opens up that world to a lot more people.
It sure does.
I'm glad you brought that up too, Bigness, because that's just it. It's like people always think that you have to have a certain persona or a certain look or a certain style in order to make it in any kind of industry, whether it be Hollywood or whatever. And now they're trying to do that with gaming and whatnot. I don't give a damn, like what you look like or what, as long as you want to play video games, you want to have a good time and not be a douchebag. I'm talking to you guys on GTA 5 online, and just have a great day. Have a great day and play and just make new friends, because I've made friends over the years playing video games. Now that I can thank Xbox for that. Shout out to you guys, man, for Xbox Live, because with this guy right there. Am I pointing at you right now, Matilda? No, that way.
Yeah, I'm over on
This guy right here. This motherfucker right here, the first one I met, he wasn't the first one I met, but I met him and everything, and that was the name that kind of popped up. Well, it looked like Matilda, but it was something else. But anyways, I made some good friends over the years and everything. And we're very different in a lot of aspects, but we can always come together like we are right now, having this conversation and everything. So I don't give a damn what people are like. I really don't. As long as you want to play games and listen to the stories and have fun, more the power to you, man, because that's what it's all about. That's what it brings. That's why it brings us together. Politics divide us, games unite us.
Yeah, and it's like, and then throughout the years too, we've actually tried to add more people to the group, and sometimes we get the people we don't want to associate with.
Yeah,
I mean, we had that one kid a few years ago from Utah.
Yeah.
Some of the comments and stuff he was saying, it was like, yeah, it doesn't fit with our group, and
he was a hard R specialist.
Yeah.
Put it mildly, yeah.
Yeah.
But then there's other times where we meet new people and it ends up they stick around. So
yeah. My brother from down under, we call him Night Dragoon. And I'm still friends with him to this day. I mean, I met him back in the I want to say it was like the Gears of War 2 era and everything. We're still friends to this day. We still chat, we still play video games, still hang out, and that's what it is. It's like a lot of the people in my group, we're actually kind of different in some ways when it comes to playing video games. We have different tastes and stuff like that. But there's always going to be that one game that kind of brings us together every now and then. And then, you get to know these people and their lives and what they've gone through and everything. And there's always some kind of relatability right there with them, So I'm glad you brought that up, Bigness. I really am, because that really does touch base and touches my heart too, hearing things like that. Absolutely.
Yeah, these are the best stories that are being told right now.
Mm-hmm.
Just flat out, just the best stories that are being told.
I mean, RD2, Red Dead Redemption 2. I mean, Tim, you've got to move that up so we could actually talk about some of this stuff on here, and that way we're not spoiling the story for you. But
yeah,
some of these storylines and just watching the cutscenes and playing out the stories, I mean, these are quality stories that if they would actually play it exactly 100% from start to finish in a movie form, Oscar worthy in some of these storylines.
Absolutely.
Because you start to grow that attachment and that passion for that player. I mean, like one of my favorite all-time television series is Band of Brothers, HBO's Band of Brothers. You get to that point, and after a couple episodes, you start feeling for those guys, even though it's a show that's remade, but you think about what those actual soldiers went through and what they're portraying in that series. Somebody dies off, you're like, it hits you. And in some of these same games, it's the same way. They throw that wrench in there, and all of a sudden this character that's been by your side for the whole time unexpectedly dies off,
Yeah.
or
So
something
for you
happens.
two, so for you two playing Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2, like, I mean, it's on my backlog. It's on my things to do. Am I gonna have to put in like a crap load of time because I got a lot of other games I'm trying to bash through right now and everything, and I really want to play Red Dead Redemption. So is there something I need to be doing differently, or what?
First of all, it's a Rockstar game, so
Right.
it's going to take a while.
Gotcha.
It is worth every second.
Okay, I'll do it. I'll play it. I already started playing the first one a couple of years ago.
The storyline keeps you intrigued.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You start off on like one end of the spectrum, and by the time you make it to the end, it's like, what just happened? So
What was
I'll play
funny to
it.
me is Red Dead Redemption came out. Red Dead Redemption 2 came out. And I was an active Twitter user at the time. I still sort of am, not as nearly as much as I used to be. But you would type in the hashtag RDR2 or Red Dead Redemption 2, and it'd just be this list of people, man. What is Dutch doing? You know what? You know, bleep Dutch, and you know this, that, and the other. It was really crazy because you see this timeline. Then as people approach the end of the game, okay. As
I was getting
you
a phone
approach the
call,
end of the
sorry.
game, you see that tone really shift. Like the conversations around it really change. And again, I don't want to spoil it because Tim, you just got to play it, man. Dig in.
yeah, it's
Play it
just
on
like
Series X though.
Playing on what?
Play it on Series X.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, I already have it for 360, the first one, and I think I have Red Dead Redemption 2 Summer floating around back there, and I plan on getting to them and everything. I've actually been on this big hook right now playing Final Fantasy VII Remake again because I really want to get ready for Rebirth and stuff, and I'm kind of going back through it right now. I'm having fun on my PS5. I'll be honest with you. You know, I've been playing more of that lately this past month than I have been playing Xbox and everything. So I'm kind of bashing through that story. I'm trying to get my hands a copy of Horizon Forbidden West, and then I want to move on to some other PS4 games. But
You can
I
borrow
will.
mine.
I'll make it. Huh?
You can borrow mine. I've got a
Cool.
copy of it. You can borrow mine. If I think I still got it. I loaned Ghost of Tsushima out to Jennifer, one of our Beers members, so she could kind of play it because she likes Asian stuff. So, but yeah, you can swing by the house and borrow it. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. I'll get that, and then so I'll get back on the Series X, and I'll hit up Red Dead Redemption. I need to start over. I started playing the first one and everything, and yeah, I'll get back into it because I do want to talk about it. And if I don't get it in time, that'd be a great topic for you and Brandon to discuss together, man. Because I think you guys would have a blast doing something like that. I'd love to be a part of it. Maybe a while before I get to it, though.
Speaking of, have you seen? And I've got goosebumps talking about this. Have you seen the gameplay for the Horizon Zero Dawn VR game?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Oh,
Kevin, you've got a mortgage payment this month.
I know, but you know, they'll be all right. They got money. Good Lord.
Has the VR2 dropped yet?
Next
Does
week.
it actually come next week? I'm
Next
just
week.
curious, once it actually comes out, I'm curious how the sales are going to be because of the price point. Because you got a lot of people, the cynical people are like, it's not going to go over because of the price. But is the quality of the games they got right now worth it? That's going to be the trade-off.
Gran Turismo, from everything I've seen, I've seen Gran Turismo. Yes. I've seen Horizon. Yes. Star Wars, Tales from the Galaxy's Edge. Oh no. But if you bring in, you're going to have to, they're going to have to feed this thing if they want to sell it. But the hardware, I don't know what kind of other apps they're going to have, if they're going to have like the news apps and the museum apps and all that other stuff like they had with the PS4 VR. But just when seriously, go look at the gameplay. Like there's a scene where you're on a boat. You're not playing as Aloy. You're on a boat and you're going down the river. You're seeing the machine animals around you and all that stuff. And a tall neck walks over you, like the big giraffe looking things with the satellite dishes on their heads. And you see the gears on its foot open up as it's stepping over you. It is so wicked. And the climbing scenes, you know I don't like heights.
Speaking of Gran Turismo, I know I've mentioned it before in our chat. You guys actually took time to watch the trailer for the movie. They're actually making a Gran Turismo movie with David Harbour, Orlando Bloom's in it. It's basically a movie about a racing series, and it's around Gran Turismo.
I didn't see the trailer. I just heard about the actors you talked about though. Yeah.
So they are actually making it. It's going to be like some of the drama between the race car drivers and stuff. It's live action, maybe some CGI cars mixed in too. But yeah, they're turning it into a game. And they're coming out with the game about the history of how Tetris got started.
Yeah. So I did see the trailer for that.
It is quite fascinating, though. It is an interesting story that they're going to tell. I mean, I remember seeing some kind of like a semi-documentary on the game. Who was it? It's a YouTuber actually I watch and everything. A shout out to was it Gaming Historian? I think is who it was. And it was actually pretty interesting concept how they came up with it and everything. That game dominated for years. It's one of the best-selling games ever.
All time.
Yeah.
Well, after watching the trailer, I understand why they had the Russian. Was it the cathedral? What is that building in the background on the game? Is it the Kremlin or the cathedral?
Yeah, I think so.
You're talking to a guy who played it like on original Game Boy, and they
didn't
have anything that's
Yeah.
I think that's the Kremlin. I think it is.
Yeah. So now I know why it was in there and why some of the language and stuff was in Russian and everything else. So being interesting to actually watch that movie, being somebody who's into history and stuff like that. So it might be pretty good. And Taron Edgerton. Yeah. Edgerton. I like him. I mean, the first what was that movie he did? I'm drawing a blank.
Kingsman.
He did the Elton John movie.
The first Kingsman. I love that movie. It's one of my. It's up there.
My son loves that movie too. There's a lot of articles and people pushing for that guy to be the next Wolverine too. You guys see that? Yeah. Like there's people who really want him to play Wolverine. And I'm like, okay, I mean, this could be interesting.
Wolverine was always short and stocky. I think Danny DeVito would be the best for it.
Yeah, you're right. You're probably right there. Wolverine is actually 5'3", not 6'3", like Hugh Jackman. But
yeah,
don't get me wrong. Jackman's an awesome Wolverine. So,
well, then who would really make sense to play him would be Bernthal, because he's short.
Yeah. Oh man, when I saw him at Comic-Con, I was like, "That's the Punisher."
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
No.
Hold on. I'm
Okay, but you know what? I still won't want to piss that guy off ever.
No, I don't want none. I mean, I don't want no smoke. I'm old.
But you know what? It could work. I mean, John Bernthal can work.
He's 5'11". So
ain't no way.
Ain't no
way.
Are you Wikipediaing that? I don't know.
He's football 5'11". He is not 5'11". He's just tall.
Oh man!
But
it's kind of cool.
The Gran Turismo movie will be legit is if they win the final race in the Subaru Impreza WRX. Like
that was like the best car for the long. That was always the best car. You get that, you can race like several series on it. Just keep upgrading.
David Harbour. You said David Harbour is going to be in that one, right?
Yeah.
I still want to see him in that Santa Claus movie, because I heard that was. I guess it was so good that they're thinking about making a second one.
What was it called?
Oh. Violent Night. I think that's what it was.
Santa
like-
Claus is kicking your ass.
Yes, it looked pretty good. It looked pretty good. I like David Harbour. He's pretty. I think he'd be good people to hang out with. Really.
I think so too. So, I think we had like a second topic. If just what, or just kind of a freestyle topic. What is, and give me three, and they do not have to necessarily all be video game related. What is your if I had unlimited money purchase? And we're going to start with Matilda.
Like in general, overall.
Yeah, three. I mean, I'm not talking about like house or stuff like that. We already know like you buy a house or whatever. But if you had unlimited money, if you had Bezos money, what would be like the three like craziest things you would buy?
Well, the first thing I always told everybody, if I ever had any kind of money to spend, I would go and buy suites at the Lucas Oil Stadium and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Hands down, I have to have those two. Even though I might not go to everything, but still I have it there available. So that's always top of my list.
Oh, yeah.
And then the next one would be a gaming thing. I would like to build a good custom sim center for flight games, for racing games, so I can play both of those, especially get into online racing and stuff like that if I had that kind of money. And then I would make sure it had all the bells and whistles, the moves and everything else. I saw a video not too long ago, a guy playing like Ace Combat in a simulator, and he actually had the seat would actually flip.
Oh, yo.
Oh, yeah, and he's in there doing maneuvering, and it's like back and forth and up and down, and I probably would have barfed until I got comfortable using that.
Well, I mean, the VR makes you sick when you were playing the playing Ace Combat.
Yeah, you feel that one being up, especially over the ocean and doing a dive or whatever. You feel it. It's just weird how that works. And then probably the last thing I would probably have to do would be add to my board game collection. I would have to go out and get some old classic Holy Grail games.
Oh, yeah.
Ones that spend money for collection, because you get anybody who's into tabletop gaming, you don't buy games to play, you buy games to collect. Mm-hmm. I've got games on my shelf I'm looking at right now that I've got games still wrapped up in the boxes with the shrink wrap on them. I've got games I've opened up and haven't punched out. So I got all kinds of games. And then there's other games I play all the time when I do play games. So it varies.
Okay. Well, the ninja has disappeared, which is what ninjas do. So I'm gonna go next then. First thing with and there he's back. See, Ninja returns.
Sorry, had to break the seal. Good stuff.
It's okay, it happens. So first thing I would buy, and I saw this on, and I know we said no houses or whatever, but I saw a house one day when I was compound shopping, I guess, and it advertised that it had a barbecue arena. It just had a giant outdoor kitchen with a bunch of pits and stuff like that. And I'm like, I want that. I mean, I don't care if it's here, if it's down there towards Austin, whatever. I just want a giant covered area, like a huge covered area with like 5 or 6 pellet grills, an offset smoker, a Kamado grill, all that stuff, like a big old flat top, and just go out there and just cook and have fans and all that stuff. Because when it gets 130 degrees out here, just get out there and just cook.
Well, you said arena. I'm thinking, was there like stadium seating around it too to watch people watch you cook?
Well, I mean, you gotta have somewhere for the people to eat. So I mean, the second thing, I would buy a Megacade. And if you've ever seen those, it's a company called Extreme Home Arcades. I think they're up in Wisconsin or something like that. But they build these giant, like, stand-up video games. It looks like an arcade game. And you can get them with 4 players, 4 joysticks. But I mean, it has arcade games, PS1 games, like all the console games up until I think PS3 or Xbox 360, with the light guns and the changing marquee and all that stuff. I would buy one of those because I think that would be a great thing to have for a party. You know, people come over and you have the video games and stuff for them to play, especially us, like the way we like to get down. I think that would be an awesome time. Get a game of NBA Jam going or something like that. Or
Rock Band,
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or the Marvel Superheroes game that was 4-player, like the side-scrolling 4-player game. I think that would be a royal blast to have. And let's see, what would be the last thing I would buy? Would be a Ford F-150 Lightning, the electric truck. I think that would be an awesome thing to have, because I am a hippie, and it would be awesome to have that car, that truck that does all the cool bells and whistles. And it costs more than my house does, but that'd be a really cool thing to have, just because I love the direction that those trucks are going. Dodge is got to get on the stick. I've been a Dodge man for the last 15 years, but I haven't seen the Dodge electric truck yet, and hope they come out with one before I'm able to buy one. So we're gonna go with you, Ninja. What would you buy? What are your 3 unlimited money purchases? Okay, so one is beer.
Got it. Sorry. No, that's good stuff. Man, there's so many damn things I would buy. Kind of going back to the car part where you were talking about, it's a toss-up between a 1968 Super Sport Camaro or a 1970 or 72 Chevelle SS Super Sport, with the big bad engine in there. Yep. I'd probably do something like that. I've always loved those cars, man. I mean, even if I had to build it and do a project car or something like that just to have the experience, that would always be one of the things I'd put my money into. And then, of course, the second thing I would buy, well, obviously more games, but I would like to get a place specifically where I could put them, because I'm more of a purist when it comes to playing video games. I have nothing against emulators or anything. I actually play emulators and stuff like that. But I'm more of a purist, and if I'm going to play like maybe a PS3 game, I want to play it on a PS3. If I'm going to get a certain game that was out for a certain console, I'm going to start collecting other consoles like the Sega Genesis and the Dreamcast and all that good stuff right there, stuff that's kind of hard to come by. When you got money, it's easier to come by these days, So yeah, I would put my that second investment into a lot of building up the vault, the library, and because my passion for video games, like I said, I consider myself a purist, and I also like to consider myself as a preservationist when it comes to video games and the history and everything. Third thing I would probably invest in was something that I wanted to do a long time ago, was actually own my own video game store, but I wanted to run it a certain way, and I'm probably giving out ideas this way. I wanted it to help represent a community, especially when it came to children. We got a lot of kids out there that are all on the fallen beaten path, or trying to, understand how life is coming about, and they don't do so well in school or whatnot. So, you want to be there to help people out. So like I would dedicate a video game store that would reward children, for doing, getting good grades in school and stuff like that, and, help them get discounts on video games and just kind of help bring that together. And I'd like to be known for something like that, knowing that I'm helping, these guys out, and they're earning their way to getting what they want to do, what they'd love to play, or, play a video game or whatnot. And I'd also like to host like video game competitions in a building like that. And that was one of my biggest dreams coming up back when, like, in my early 30s and stuff like that. So I would like to see something like that come to fruition, because now we have so much access to video games. It's a phenomenal, like it was either that idea or open the barcade that we wanted to do quite a ways back, like I'm talking fully decked out, beautiful counters, big screen TVs, updated modern day consoles. You know, we're selling, you know, alcohol and good food and stuff like that. If I had the money, I could put that into there, and I think I can get a return investment on it, depending on the proper location. So that would be where I'd like to put a lot of money in it at this current time. So yeah.
Yeah, Tim's going to come up with the modern day book it, game it.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Do your little thing. He'll give you a coupon and go to Pizza Hut and get you a personal pan pizza.
That's right,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
What, you just brought me a straight A report card? Well, you know what? You're getting $100 off of that series.
Speaking of that, my son, who's gotten straight A's for like the last 4 semesters, found out a couple weeks ago that straight A's on a report card, you could go to Krispy Kreme and they'll give you up to 6 donuts per A you get on your report card.
There you go.
So he's already like, they got any Dunkin' or Krispy Kremes down there in Texas?
They're
Yeah.
in Dallas. They're not here though. Oh,
Yeah.
You guys
They-
still have
they
Shipley's,
exist.
don't you? You guys still have Shipley's, right?
Yeah, we got Shipley's. We
We
see
got
them
Shipley's.
mostly in gas stations and stuff, but there is one here where I live. There's an actual Shipley's building. So yeah.
So, well,
We
I
got
mean, I would
donuts.
love to know. Oh, go ahead, bud.
I was just gonna say we got donuts here, guys. So
We got donuts. We have donuts. If you this is not a wide angle lens, according to Mark Hamill, but we got donuts down here. So let us know what you think if you are watching. First of all, thank you for watching. Second of all, let us know what you think. What are your 3 unlimited money purchases that you'd like to make? Please put it down in the comments, whether you're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever social media. We're not on them all, but we're on a lot of them. Please let us know in the comments. Thank you for subscribing, and thank you for watching the podcast. It means a lot to us.
absolutely. Like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you hit the little bell down there.
Yeah.
There.
Yes.
There.
Yes.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah,
notified.
'cause my daughter the other night, oh, you guys posted a new video on The Last of Us Season 5 review, The Incredible Stalk. Make sure you check it out. New one should be coming. New one's going to be recorded probably Tuesday.
Yes. There will be new videos for The Last of Us. There'll be videos for the occasional cooking video. I posted one last week. I apologize, guys. I can't do alcohol because I'm on about 18 different medications now, right now, to get over this cold or whatever it is. So let's throw them up, guys. This is cranberry juice, by the way. So thank you again for watching. Thank you again for subscribing. And if you have not subscribed, please press the subscribe button, smash the bell button so that you'll be notified anytime a new video from the Beers of War is posted. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for tuning in to the podcast. And if you drink, hey, you drink with me.
Drink with me.